There we go. I think we're on. Yes. Hi, friends. Doc South here, and well, I'm going to try something here and see if it works. It turns out we got Christmas coming soon, right? And won't be that much longer till Christmas of 2024 hits us right smack dab in the kisser. And I was thinking, what am I going to give people in my family for Christmas gifts? And not just immediate family, but extended family. I, I I know most of you know me as Doc South, but actually my real name would be Richard Tomlinson. The And it turns out that as luck would have it, I believe I'm the oldest Tomlinson in my generation. Yep, I was born back in 1946. There was a lot of Tomlinsons around when I was born, and they all welcomed me to the planet. And I grew up knowing all the different relatives. They were all such great people. Honestly, they were. And I'm fortunate and honored to have been a kid in their presence, and a young adult, and eventually now an old geezer. But that's how life goes. And I think now I don't think there's anyone in the immediate family, the family I was born into. I don't think there's anyone, like I said before, early older than me. Yeesh. That does give you a little pause, and I thought, which also means that I might be next, right, for the old Grim Reaper. I'm not too worried about that because I know there's lots of my family waiting to show me the ropes, take me to the horse racing track at in in heaven. Yeah, that kind of thing. Oh yeah. Oh sure, there's casinos. If my family's up there, there's casinos, and horse racing tracks, and very happy family members, and people that just go about their business doing as doing as good as they can and trying their best to make good lives for their families. That's my family. Trying to think, I should go. I guess. Well, I guess the first Tomlinsons I remember seeing were my parents, Dick and Mary Ann. Oddly enough, I know I said I'm Doc South. That's my air name. My first name would be Richard Michael Tomlinson. Okay, and I was since I was the first child of my the first child of the first child has to be named Richard, and my father was the firstborn in his generation of Tomlinsons, so I was named after him. And they luckily they called me Richard Michael and Tomlinson, and gave me I instead of me being called Junior, which for some reason Mom didn't want. I would have been proud to be Dickie Junior, but I'm just as happy with Mike. And I remember, I guess my mother and father decided to call me Mike instead of Dickie or Ricky, that kind of thing. As I understand it, that's what I heard. But they were good parents, and I'll tell you, when I think about it, and I honestly think I could get misty over it, or just plain old start sobbing outright when I say I don't think I ever wanted for even the little tiniest bit of love or advice. My father gave me lots of advice sometimes, but they were always very, very good. If I was in a jam, they were there to get me out of it. That's the kind of people they were. Wonderful people. My father, let's see. Well, he was Richard Fillmore Tomlinson. He he was the first of his generations of Tomlinsons, hence the Richard in his name, and people nicknamed him Dick. And he grew up in Elizabeth. When World War II came along, he enlisted in the Marines and became a fighter pilot flying those Corsairs. Wonderful airplane as long as it wasn't chasing you down the amongst the clouds. In fact, I don't know if no, I don't think I can get it for you to see, but I keep a model of a Corsair in the room. Oh, heck, now that I said that, I've got to go get it. You just wait there a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay? Here we go, I got it. This is a Corsair. And if it was on your tail back in World War II, you were in deep doo-doo. And my father flew him. Okay, he never got into combat, but he was next. Had the war gone longer, I'm sure he would have been over there. And look out, Mama, he would have been a tough opponent. As it was, he was a very good pilot and had a few close calls, but came out of them okay and did well. And oddly enough, right near where the airplanes that crashed but could be repaired were stored, there was down at I think down at Paris Island, down in that neck of the woods. The base is down there along the that would be the North Carolina Virginia border, I believe. No, the South Carolina North Carolina border. There's a whole bunch of Marine Corps bases there, and my father was stationed there. And one way or another, there was this real pretty girl in one of the offices, typing away like crazy. In fact, she was not too far. She was in the building or an office building, a Marine Corps office building, not too far from where the crashed airplanes were. And she used to kind of shake when she saw another one come into the compound to be knocked down for parts. But one of the guys that used to come into that particular office of hers for whatever reason, call it kismet, I suppose, was my father. And well, one thing led to another, and they got married. Yes, they did. And I don't think it took them too long to decide either. I think they got married pretty much, well, they just as fast as they could. Especially, I think the war was starting to come to an end. And in fact, I think shortly after it ended, a day or two after it ended, that's when they tied the knot. And I think that was down in Paris Island. I could be wrong, but pretty sure that's the case. And well, it didn't take too long. Let's see, the war was over in, let me look here. I think it was over in 1945. Well, I came along in June of 46. Yep. And they were so tickled. Oh my gosh. My father was, from what I understand, he was just doing cartwheels. He was so happy that, well, he was a father and mom was the mother. He was just so happy. And I think in due time we moved to a town in New Jersey called Mine Hill, which is near Dover. Consult your maps. And I grew up there as just a very young kid, just having a ball with friends. Usually most of my friends were children of people who were one way or another in the service. And they were, it's funny, all those people were just so happy to have gotten through the war in one piece and to now have a family and kids. And there were kids everywhere you could look. We didn't scrimp for fun at all. We always had a friend somewhere down the street who'd want to come out and play stickball with us, or rousing game of hide and seek, or what have you, Monopoly, yeah. And the parents, if you did something, I think it was a general rule that if the parents, if you did something in someone else's house that wasn't quite the nicest thing to do, well, you were in trouble with the parent of the parent that is in the house, and then also your parent was going to hear about it. So you had like, yeah, double jeopardy there. But for the most part, we all just, us kids all got along together. I think it was because we had such nice parents who had seen what war was like and decided they wanted peace and a family. And that's what they fought for. And if you're going to fight for something, fighting for your family and peace, not too bad an idea. And so I grew up with the folks. Eventually, one thing led to another. And well, next thing you know, I got my brother Ed. Now, Ed was born when we had moved from Mine Hill to Elizabeth, which was closer to my grandparents, my father's father and his mom. Um, and my father's mom had a nice home with my father's kid brother, Don, who we called Uncle Don. And Uncle Don had some disease that blinded him. I forget what it was. It's something that I think now could be fixed, but back in the day, in the 40s, it wasn't doable. And so he spent a lot of his life very, very well, darn near blind. He could see a little, but not much, not much. But still, he didn't let that stop him. He went out and found work to do, and worked, I think, with my father in a jewelry store that they owned, and like that. My father's father, granddad, I always called him, was a guy who sold silverware in New York City. Uh-huh. Grandma, Grandma was from New England. She was old enough to remember, well, World War One. Yeah, she was a nurse in World War One. I don't think on the front lines, but back at home, and she was, from what I gather, pretty good at it. And she was a heck of a cook. Oh, Grandma, if it was Thanksgiving, the place to be was Grandma and Granddad's house. Granddad would be there with his best carving knife, slicing up that turkey. We'd all be eating. Uh, Generally, he'd feed the kids first, and we ate in a room in the back of the house. It was the breakfast nook, and they put the kids in there so that the grown-ups could be out front talking grown-up stuff and having highballs, yeah, or martinis. And and of course, us kids would eat the food so fast. We were always fed first. We'd eat so fast, we'd be going into the dining room for seconds before anyone else in the house had first. Yeah, it was that kind of thing. But and I remember, gosh, TV eventually came to well, actually, before I moved to Elizabeth, my father sold TVs. He and my uncle Don sold TVs door to door and did rather well with it. And so I was one of the first kids on my block to have a television, which meant we had a pretty busy living room. And Granddad got a TV off my father, and after after either Thanksgiving dinner or Sunday dinner, everybody would march in and watch Ed Sullivan. Uh huh. Yeah, Ed Sullivan. In fact, I remember seeing, show you what the family was like, I guess, Elvis on debuting on Ed Sullivan. And I remember my granddad just about walked out of the room. My uncle Don couldn't believe it. Mom was kind of eyeballing Elvis, thinking, gee, he's kind of cute. And my father, of course, didn't care for Elvis. Me, I was dancing around the room, screaming and yelling, thinking it was the best thing I'd ever seen in my life. And oddly enough, I imagine that's when I became a DJ, because I would find records in my granddad's house, play them, hoping I'd find an Elvis record. Never did in Granddad's house, but a lot of Tommy Dorsey and the big band stuff I got, Rudy Valley, like that. And but eventually, yeah, my parents moved into Chester, New Jersey. We had a very nice little house out in the country now at that point, and life was good. I'm trying to think of some of the other family members. Let's see. Well, I did mention Gosh, well, my grandparents, and let's see, there was uncles. There was an Uncle Wendell who was on, I think, the carrier. Oh, I can't think of it now. I used to know, but he was an officer on a carrier during World War II. He had stories to tell. It's pretty wild, and like that. And mostly, I just grew up in a family that was very loving and very, very good to the community and just nice people. Not afraid to have a nice old fashioned. In fact, sometimes they give me a sip, and not and just happy to come home to their families after a hard day's work, sleep a bit, maybe a little hanky panky, and then back to get up in the morning and go to work. And that's pretty much how it was. And they were always, I know my folks were always good to me. I'm trying to think of some of the other family members. My mom's family out in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. They, that Newcastle was kind of an industrial town, very, very busy back in the wartime years, making things like bearings, and I think there was a spot there where they may have made artillery or parts for artillery. Mom uh, grew up there with her dad and her mom. Her dad died fairly young, and Grandma, my mom's mom, raised, I think it was three girls: Mom, Barbie, Alice, Colette. No, four girls, and did a good job of it too. The girls all, as they got older, worked to bring money to the house, and Mom can remember the days of the Great Depression and how tough it was. But again, with the what they learned during the Depression, when Mom's dad died, they just bit the bullet and they came through with flying colors. Get right down to it, and it was always fun for me as a kid to go out and see Aunt Barb, Uncle Bill. Uncle Bill was big on hunting and loved to take me out rifle shooting. Yeah, oh yeah, he did. It was kind of fun sitting there. Oh yeah, cool. And let's see, what else? Ed, my brother Ed, always a salesman. He always was good at selling, and I believe to this minute that's what he does. He's always up to some kind of thing he can sell, and he's good at it. Yeah, way better than I am. And he has a wonderful wife named Helen, who also works very, very hard at various jobs. She's done everything from being a waitress to, running an office practically. I mean, she's an extremely, well, they're both just a real dynamic family, wonderful kids. You got Blake, who served as a Marine. I think my father talked him into it. In fact, I remember Blake after he got down to Paris Island, he wrote to my father saying, "Gee, Granddad, I wish you hadn't talked me into the Marines." But Blake served out in the I believe in not sure it was Iraq. I think it was Afghanistan, and it was tough, but he got through it. Um, oh gosh, there's Lydia, Blake's new wife. They're expecting a child any day now. It could happen any day now, from what I hear. So I might be wrong on that. I haven't seen Lydia to ask, but I remember they came up. Blake and Lydia came. Blake wanted to introduce me to Lydia, and I was busy DJing at that big car show at M&M's. And remember, Lydia was pretty impressed. I had all those records and stuff. It was kind of fun. Let's see, what else here? Gosh, well, I have my son Burgess. Burgess and his wife Claudia have this wonderful little girl named Dora. Dora is, I think, the youngest of my grandchildren. She's in the 2 to 3 year old range, maybe a little older, and they live out near California, the eastern end of California. My son sells, oh gosh, solar panels. Yeah, and he's very good at it. And Claudia's just one wonderful, wonderful mom, and does so much. does so much. There's, of course, my wife, Sandy. Sandy, I can't ask for a better wife. Just one of the nicest people. And I've been kind of out sick lately with, oh, well, I got, as you may know, I cut my eye pretty good, and Sandy's been helping with that. And just honestly, she should have been a nurse. She'd have been very good at it. But she's Sandy, and she does a very excellent job of gathering up antiques and selling them. And she does a very honest, decent job doing that. We have my daughter, Sunshine, out in Mystic, Connecticut. Her husband, Jason, and Sadie. Sadie, who's actually, Sadie, I think, is in her 20s now, and or early 20s or late teens. And Sadie actually runs the store, some kind of, it's like a boutique, but it's fancier than that. Best way I can say it. And it's up there near Boston, I believe, as I understand. I've not been to it, so I can't really tell you much. But Sadie's a pistol. Very much a self-starter, and just always enjoying to find a way to make a buck, and have a good time doing it. And Sadie's one of those really good, energetic people that you just can't help but like. I believe I've covered everyone. I think I have. I just wanted to get this out because I thought, it might not hurt for someone to just stick up for the family. And I thought, well, since I'm the blabbermouth, why not me? I can't kick. Everyone in my family, as far as I'm concerned, is state of the art. They're just wonderful, decent, good people that you just can't kick. You just can't kick. And Sandy, I couldn't have a better wife than her. It's just amazing how life does. If you keep your eyes open, life don't give you lemons. Huh? Yeah. Unless you need a lemon, for some lemonade or something. But other than that, right. Yeah, I'm very blessed indeed. So anyway, I thought I'd get that out. I want to share this with the family. That's why I'm doing it today. I just figured maybe I can get it out to everyone, and just do my best to just puff out my chest and be a little happy that I do have such wonderful people looking over my shoulder who have my back. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye now, and God bless. I hope your family's the same. I certainly hope so. And I'll bet you they are. Okay, bye now.